I'm here with my buddy Jack, who I was trying to get on my lap, but he didn't want to. I could have picked him up and brought him on my lap, but he was saying, I don't want to. He just wanted the treats. This is Jack's roadmap to success. One of the things we talked about early in the session was dog consent. So a lot of us, we don't think of anything about pushing a dog's butt down or just grabbing the dog or whatever it is, but we're taking away the dog's choice. And so anytime I want to interact with a dog, I always kind of want to get consent first. And so what I do is I hold my hand out, see how he engaged, and then I can reach to pet him. And at any point, he could turn his head to the side or lower his head or back away, and I need to respect that and stop trying to engage with him. The girl I was picking her dog up, and he was like biting her hand. And she said, he was play biting my hands. No, he was biting. He didn't want you to do it, but he kept on doing it anyways. So if we listen to our dog and we respect what they're saying, they don't have to correct us because we're listening. I'm not saying we let the dog do whatever we want. We talked about rules and structure in this session, but we also need to be cognizant of that. And if the dog doesn't like I was trying to pick up this bully stick a minute ago and he didn't like that. So I broke it down into small segments and made it a positive. So I reach for it. See, he doesn't like that. So I might just reach a little bit and then I say yes and give him the treat. Reach a little bit further. Yes. Well, now he went to the bully stick. Reminded him. But you want to try to avoid confronting a dog because that's just going to cause them to go back and forth and you're just going to get in this back and forth. I'd rather create a situation where the dog can learn. So, or like this. So he's chewing the bully stick. There's a great treat right here for him. I'm not telling him to do anything, but when he drops it, if he drops it, then I'm going to say yes and then put the treat in his mouth. Now you see I was turning his head. I don't know, can you see him on the camera? Mm-hmm. So when he's turning his head away, he's saying, no, I'm not interested in that. No. So I'm not trying to force it. You can't see him in the...
No.
Okay, that's all right. So basically, look for signs of consent. So lack of consent would be turning my head away, lowering my head, backing away, getting stiff, baring my teeth, licking my lips profusely, refusing to come over to you could all be indications. Yeah, go ahead and adjust it however you want. This is just for you guys. You can put your hand on the red part and adjust the camera.
There you go. It's good now.
There we go.
You got Jack too.
All right. So, and I have a video on dog consent if you have any questions. I got videos on all the stuff we're going to cover. So, we talked about a marker word. We did a marker word loading exercise. I'd like you guys, by the time you watch this video, you should be done with that. So again, switch. So you'll use the marker word and you'll use the clicker. Walk around one in each room. And that, you don't have to do, really, when you say the marker word to click and he stops what he's doing and comes to you, then you're done doing it. You only have to do it really 4 or 5 times max and you're done. But do it in every room in your house. Remember, dogs don't generalize well, so we have to practice a lot of variety for them to have a good response that's consistent. We also went over hand targeting, which I have a video on. That's a nice way to get him engaged, and that's also something that you can do. I guess I talked about it a little bit in that video, but if he's giving signals that he doesn't like what you're doing, you say like this, and he comes over to you, you told him what to do, he acknowledged and listened to you, and you rewarded him for doing that. That helps take him out of that mindset. We also talked about petting with a purpose and passive training. Petting with a purpose is essentially teaching a puppy or a dog to say please or thank you by doing a do-over the same way that parents do with children. I want some pizza. I don't want this meatloaf. You want to ask for that again? Can I please have some pizza? Yes. So whenever possible, we try to do that. So when he jumps up or nudges you, we're going to redirect him into a sit or a down. Do not ask for a shake. And then we're only going to ask once. If he does it, we say our marker word, say yes, and pet him here, 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 or here, not over here. And then pet him as much or as little as we want. If I tell him to sit and he does not sit and he knows how to sit, I'm just going to disengage, go back to watching TV, read some emails, paint a portrait, whatever it is. I'm playing hard to get works great for dog training as well as it does for dating. So let him know, in this case, he's the one missing out. He wanted that attention. He didn't do what you asked him to do, and he didn't get rewarded. He didn't get punished, but he didn't get the reinforcement. That'll make him next time a little bit more likely to want to do it, but make sure that the dog knows how to sit. A lot of people assume, and their dog actually doesn't. It knows through the gesture, not the verbal cue. Use the watchword of polite. If you come in and you see somebody's petting him when he's standing, they might say you forgot to do that for about a month or so. So I say polite, and I stop or manners or whatever the word is. And I stop petting him, tell him to sit. If he sits, I pet him on his chin. Say yes, pet him on his chin. I can tell my partner I asked him to sit, and you just missed it because you were out of the room. But thanks for reminding me. I do forget sometimes to pet him with a purpose. We also went over celebrating or capturing, which is waiting for the dog to do an activity that you want when you don't ask for it. Same way, if your kid shares a game with another child, you're going to reward them or compliment them for doing it. Same thing. So every time the dog comes to you, yes, and pet. Every time he sits, yes, lay down, looks eye contact with you, drinks water, eats their food, poops outside, jumps on the bed, sits at the door, whatever it is. Anything you want your dog to do. One thing you might want to do is create a list. What are the activities we want our dog to do? Okay, well, sit, come, lay down. So what we want to do is we're just going to say, if I miss it, and let's say he just walked up and one of his guardians say, celebrate to me, I would just say yes and start petting him. I'm not going to do it right now because he's chewing. But they saw it, I didn't. So they're going to help me get into a habit. And after about a month or two, you should get in a habit. You see him coming out of the corner of your eye, you're just like, yes, while I'm continuing watching the football game. I can do two things at once. Now, once I get really good at this, what I would do is if I see that he's over there off camera and he's walking towards me, I know he's coming to me. Well, he's already coming to me. I just sneak that cue in first, the command word, come, or in his case, come here. He's already coming here, and I say yes when he comes here, and I pet him. So there's nothing wrong with using the cue and the marker word at the same time. Well, they're doing the same incident, not at the same time. But eventually you can drop the marker word. There's nothing wrong with continuing to use it. But usually when I say sit and the dog sits, I don't have to say yes anymore. I would just give a pet or reward. We also talked about exercise. Playing fetch. Tug of war is not something he really does, but going for walks is a great way to exercise him. And those are ways to get him physical exercise. But we can also do mental stimulation, like cookie in the corner, feeding him out of a snuffle mat, feeding him out of a treat. And you probably should go to Amazon or Chewy and look for treat dispensing toys and puzzles. I avoid the ones that are like a board where I move stuff around, because after a while the dog's like, and then they eat up all the treats. I like ball-shaped ones or ones they got to flip over because it always bounces a little bit different. It helps with their problem-solving skills. Gives them something to do. Feeding on a snuffle mat, also a nice way to burn some energy. Training is a great way to burn some energy. And then you can also Google scent games. There's a whole bunch of games that you can do. Don't be weirded out when it talks about cadavers. You don't have to bring a dead animal in your house to do scent games. There are other ways to do it as well. But eventually, if I played cookie in the corner here enough, and he's done it like 20 times, then I could hide treats in here when he's away. And then he come in here, I'd say, Jack, search! And he runs over there and he starts searching for the treats. I gave him something to do. It also be something that we probably should have talked about in the video above. That might be another thing to do, is just play cookie in the corner, tossing those treats. You're tossing the dip. He's going away from you. He's being rewarded for doing so. He likes doing it because you're the one doing it with him. Yes, that's celebrating right there. All right, let me see. We also talked about the importance of rules and exercise. Rules. Right now, the only rule he has is not allowed to sleep in the bed in this house, and he has to not pee or poop in either house. And so, yes, I asked you to come up before, and you would have gotten all kinds of treats. And now, so who's motivated for the treats? Having good treats is really important. So basically, some of the rules I suggest: not being allowed in the kitchen when we're preparing food, not being allowed within 7 feet of any humans who are eating food. Yes. And then you can do other things like asking him to sit before you start preparing his food. Tell him to sit before you open the door. He likes being on his guardian's lap. I would say that should be also a sit as well. If he jumps up on your lap and you don't want to be on your lap, he's a little one, so we don't want to hurt him. But just maybe stand up, and then he'll just jump. He'll feel you're shifting, and he'll just jump down. And then tell him to sit, and he sits. You invite him up, and then say yes when he gets here and pet him. Again, we're giving him that do-over. Just like children, we need to teach dogs how to say please, thank you, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, how to ask for things. If we don't teach them how to do these things, they're going to jump up. They're just going to do whatever seems logical to them. And then it's our job and our responsibility as guardians is to teach them, yes, what to do. So he jumped up. He didn't get any interaction from me. I didn't tell him no. I didn't punish him. I didn't react at all. But as soon as he sat down, I started petting. Now, I usually don't go from a jumping up to sitting down and petting. I usually would then say down. And if he were to down, then I would pet him. So I'm making him do something that I'm asking him to do if he took a liberty without permission. Was the worst thing in the world for him to jump up in your lap? No. But I think in his case, just having him have to learn to ask for things in a polite manner is going to help with a lot of the subtle issues the guardians have here. Let me see. We also talked about, I think that's just about it. Is there anything else you guys want me to go over? All right. Well, Jack, I have some bark right here for you, buddy. Would you like some of that? You have to come up here to get it. Are you allowed to come up here? Well, it doesn't want to break very well. Oh, look at that. Motivation. It's really important for dogs. Jack, sit. If you have any questions, please feel free to text me. If I don't hear from you, I assume everything's going well. And it's very normal to need to make adjustments. Jack, sit. Well, this is my buddy Jack, and this is Jack's roadmap to success. You got to come back up here, buddy. Sit. Yes. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.